Who is likely to win the AU seat? The AU seat is very competitive. Very, very competitive. But the fact remains, according to me, I believe it might not have the second round. It probably might have the first round. And according to me, when I look at this closely, all these leaders have given their best when it comes to the campaigns. Moving across the country, going to various parts of the country, meeting presidents right, left, and center. That's an amazing thing that they have done. And considering what is happening right now, the race is very tight. If you look at the number of countries that people are supporting these individual candidates, you realize that the race is very tight. But however, I want to remind the world one simple thing, all the Africans across the continent, one simple thing. This is going to be a secret ballot. You come, talk to me, finish, then go. But when I'm going to vote, it's based on my interests. Basically as simple as that. And also, remember these groups, whichever place you come from, either from the western, southern, eastern, central of Africa, these people have their own agreements. They have their block region, their blocks which they sit down, they discuss on what they're going to do. So probably without involving the outside world, I feel strongly that these leaders have their own agreements as per to how they're going to support. The East African community does not have a huge number that's going to influence the leadership of Raila Amolo Odinga. The fact remains that the East African community has numbers, but those numbers are not that big. So we have to expect that these Francophone, Anglophone, and many other countries are probably going to sit down and decide their leader, and they're going to vote for him. However, it is very challenging for the fact that it is a secret ballot. I've done a video before to tell you guys the challenge that Raila Amolo Odinga is going to face. It is probably the secret ballot. Because once you have friends, let me just take you through this. Raila Amolo Odinga is one of the people who is known to have been formed friends across the continent. They have friends across. He has friends across the main. So this gentleman, he expects his friends to support him. But now this friend is not going to announce to you, hey, Raila Amolo Odinga, yeah, I've voted for you. Now I'm casting it. It's not going to happen that way. Someone will come, greet you, smile, go vote. And after voting, he votes yes or no. That's according to him. He keeps it secret. And basically, that is the biggest challenge. Even a friend himself can be able to vote against you. These people have the individual problems, and I'm going to take you through that. But the fact remains today as we speak that these leaders have done a tremendous campaign. They all have support from their individual countries and, of course, from their regions of origin. And it's very clear. Raila Amolo Odinga has the favor of Eastern countries. And then when you go to the other guy of Madagascar, probably has the favor of the SADC people. And when you go to the issue to do with Yusuf, probably as we speak today, he has the favor of the Northern and probably the Francophones. So if these people are going to vote as a bloc, it's going to be a challenging election. But the fact remains, I believe today you're going to get a leader. Come before the end of the day, probably you're going to know who's going to be the leader. However, there's one aspect that I've been getting that's going around across the media stations where people have been discussing how the elections were done before. And the fact remains this. They are saying that before, Faki was not the front runner. The front runner was Amina Mohammed, and I don't know some of the other candidate who was there. So the fact remains that if Faki was not the front runner, but Faki won, probably these African presidents, there's a quality they're looking for. A quality of no noise. Someone who will not be hyped. Someone who does not have so many things happening. Someone who does not have so many bad things following him on his side. Someone without a huge baggage. Now, let me tell you this. That is a very critical aspect that will determine who will win this seat. And as Kenyans, we might not be surprised to see even the Madagascar guy win it. Despite that he does not seem to be the favorite or maybe the front runner, the fact remains he might win the seat. Why am I giving this reason? Let's remember this. Before, remember that Raila Amolo Odinga, Kenyans have decampaigned him immensely. People have called presidents, people have texted presidents, people have asked presidents not to vote for him. This is basically because of his differences with the Gen Zs, which happened last year, June 2024. Very precisely, they didn't want anything to do with Raila Amolo Odinga, especially winning the AU seat. They want him to lose and come back home, probably engage in the local politics. So the fact remains that this decampaigning gives a message to the African presidents that there's something wrong. Also, we have problems that have been occurring in this country. William Ruto has been a problem himself to Raila Amolo Odinga's campaigns. Despite he supports him here, on the other side, William Ruto also appears to be Western leader, which means that some African presidents are uncomfortable with him. Even Raila himself probably has not so much affiliated himself to the Western or Eastern, but the fact remains people know his mind very well. He is probably pro-West. Now, when you look at all those kind of aspects, probably people might feel Raila Amolo Odinga might be a man of noise again. Whenever he's doing hype here and there, so probably he might not be the favorite of these African presidents. Now, let me go back to now the other guy for Djibouti. The other guy for Djibouti is also almost the same case with Raila Amolo Odinga. It is weird that a leader has been the foreign cabinet secretary, or maybe a minister in charge of foreign affairs in Djibouti for the past 20 years. That is weird, which means probably they have been having just the same president, or maybe he has been a cartel in that country. There's no way that you can be in that office for 20 good years since 2005. That is strange. It's seriously strange. It's not just experience here. It's all about how is it possible that you've been on that docket. If you are 60 right now, then probably, and you have been 20 years and down the line, you were there while you were 40. That is up to now, you've been in power. That is strange. People will be asking, is he a dictator? Is he working with the local government to dictate the people of Djibouti? Are they dictators or something? That is weird, to be honest. There's one thing that Barack Obama said when he came to Africa, right in Ethiopia. He said that the problem with some African leaders, they feel that they're too good to stay for long in power. And then as a result of thinking that they are too good, they eventually ignore the constitution and decide to extend their terms in office. I am not here to call anybody that maybe describe any leader badly, but I feel strongly that someone staying in the same docket for quite some time probably needs to give his achievements that he has made. But even if you have huge achievements, nobody's too good to stay in power for 20 years in the same docket with the same staff. I mean, it is weird. It is weird. Now, the one thing we have to remember is that actually, I have to notify you here that the fact remains, if you go to Djibouti, the Djibouti youths also do not want this gentleman to win the seat. They do not want him to win. So Raila Amolo Odinga and the Djibouti guy, the one thing in common is that the youths of Djibouti and the youths of Kenya don't want their leaders. The funny thing is that the youths of Djibouti want Raila to win, and the youths of Kenya want the Djibouti guy to win. That's the only problem. And when you look at all this, if the African presidents are following closely what's happening on social media, there's a likelihood that we are going to have the Djibouti guy and Raila Amolo Odinga put aside, and people are going to consider the Madagascar cool gentleman, that is Richard. I'm not so sure you guys what you're thinking about, but let us wait and see what the results are going to be all about. But on the comment section, please don't forget to drop a comment there. My name is Abel Mokua. See you next time for the videos that we do here as usual.